Welcome to BRR Media. Today I'd like to welcome back Mike Hodgson, who's the CEO of Serabi Gold. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Scott. Nice to hear from you again.
Mike, today would have been your AGM, obviously meeting lots of people in person. Obviously disappointing not to have that.
It is. The last few years, we've actually had increasing sort of success in getting investors to come and visit. We've had some very fruitful conversations and discussions and being able to meet shareholders who have been very supportive, and it's really rewarding. And we've had some, sometimes, I remember years ago we had sort of really empty rooms, but they've been pretty good lately, and it's been great. So it is a shame, but I'm glad of this opportunity to at least try to provide some feedback and perhaps, replace my speech and my comments at the AGM with this broadcast. And of course, after the end of it, I hope, the BRR output and the Serabi output, I welcome comments from what I say today for people to contact me again. So that'll be great.
So maybe we can just start by a roundup of 2019.
Indeed, thank you. Well, it was, my speech would normally start with that, and it was a great year for us. I think our best year, without doubt. From a production perspective, we obviously broke through the 40,000 ounce per annum threshold for the first time. The last 3 years we've got pretty close, but never quite made it. But this year we did, which was great. It was really, really good to do it. Just over $1,000 an ounce, so a very good number. Very pleased with that. We obviously saw the arrival of our much-awaited ore sorter. This is that clever piece of equipment that's going to allow us to basically screen out some of the waste that particularly gets into the mining process at Palito. It arrived, we've installed that, and we've seen that bearing fruit in Q1 2020. So that we got after a lot of, and it's going to allow us to get more ounces through our little process plant without any sort of serious plant expansion. So it's the first, so it allows us to get our plant to work a little bit better. So that's a great fit, and I think it'll be really key as we think we might be able to unlock the applications of that ore sorter on the South Chico ore, and I think in time at Coringa. So that's certainly a great addition. We also saw exploration really kick off again for the first time. The exploration has been largely parked for a number of years. In the last sort of years, we've obviously put Palito back into production. We've acquired South Chico, put South Chico into production. We've taken on some debt along the way, and up until 2019, we really hadn't got the funding to really give exploration a good hard go again. We always knew the potential in our backyard was very good. Lots of artisanal mining operations, old mostly, but evidence of mineral occurrences of gold. So it was great to get that started again. And with our debt sort of paid down quite a bit, we actually had some money to do some exploration for the first time. So the big one was, of course, the airborne survey that we did in the end of 2018, early 2019. And on the back of that, we got on the ground and started doing a mix of regional exploration between the Palito and South Chico ore bodies, and most specifically around South Chico. And I don't want to forget Coringa as well. Obviously, big news in our new acquisition, our acquisition of end of 2017, early 2018, Coringa down the road, 200 k's from Palito. We did over 2019, we produced a new geological resource, which showed a 500,000 ounce deposit, very similar to Palito. We submitted a PEA on the back of that resource update, which was generated in Q3, end of Q3, early Q4. We, in parallel, submitted and got approved our new EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment, which was great. That included the removal of tailings and a dry stack filtration plant, eliminating the need for a tailings dam. Obviously, a bit of a hot potato in Brazil these days, so we took that out. We took the decision to take that out, and that was very positively received. And on the back of all of that, we started the process to get the LP. And one of the most key parts of that was, of course, the public hearing, the very positive public hearing that we had in February the 6th, 2020, which went really very well. It was great to get that done, because obviously with the subsequent lockdown, we would have been severely delayed with that. So having got all of that done, we're still hopeful we're going to make progress and get that all-important preliminary license in the non-too-distant future, hopefully for the beginning of Q3. And probably not forgetting, we had a very good year with our share price. It basically went up 2.5 times to nearly 3 times. At one point in the year, we're down to sort of 25 pence, but we're up to the 80, 90 pence range now these days. So very pleasing to have that success too.
Mike, obviously very positive with regards to 2019. What about 2020 and the current status?
But we followed 2019 Q4 with a very respectable Q1, 9,000 ounces. We had inside, I mean, inside those 9,000 ounces, actually, so a truly spectacular month of March. We had a tough February with a very unexpected mill failure, which there are certain things you just can't cover all eventualities. I mean, if you only have a mill go down and then it takes 2 weeks, there's no catch-up time with plant constraints, so there wasn't a lot we could do. So that did mean that February was a bad month, but we rebounded with a fantastic March, and March was our record month, nearly 3,800 ounces produced, and April was another sort of 35, so 2 really solid months. So we had a very solid sort of Q1, but then of course, like every company, we've actually obviously had to cope with the pandemic, and Brazil has been no different. In many ways, it's a country that's really struggling with the virus. So to get those months, March and April and May, still producing well, it's been a huge bonus. What we've actually done, we have put in a series of measures to try to keep the camp as safe as possible. We've reduced the workforce to a bare minimum. We've got everybody off site who's non-essential, and that's allowed us to actually spread the workers out. We're now being able to social distance them. Their living conditions are now far better in the sense that they actually have space. So we actually have about sort of 35, 40% of the workforce actually at site, and the rest are either fewer home working, but the majority we put on the Brazil government suspension scheme, much as we have here in the UK. And all that means in Q2 is we're probably heading towards something like an 8,000 ounce quarter. So not quite as high as we actually hoped and anticipated with the budget. But I think all things considered, it's a great result. I mean, we can't expect with a sort of, only 1/3 of the workforce to be producing, the same budget as we would be normally. We are lean and mean, there's no doubt, but we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We really are. And we think Q2 we'll get to about 8,000 ounces, and we don't really see any reason, as long as things don't go off the rails in Brazil, why we can't continue in Q3 the same. As I say, we've got testing now, so any rotation of people when we rotate our staff, we test them all before they come to site. And they're interviewed for symptoms, etc. They come to site, and we do changeovers that way. So we're keeping everyone as safe as we can, and we'll keep going like that until we can actually begin to come out of this and grow back to the company we were before. And I think, as I say, our guidance was 45,000 ounces. We probably won't make that, but we're going to give it a good go to make a big hole in that number. That's certainly going to be our plan. And exploration, we've obviously seen the fruits of the 2019 results, and which went into drilling, etc., which continued into 2020. We've actually stopped that surface drilling for the time being for all the aforementioned reasons. We are still underground drilling at South Chico, so we are still doing deep underground exploration drilling there. So that's still going, which is great. But we focused the first 6 months of the year on basically mine site drilling at South Chico. That's really coming together very nicely. We did an interview about 3 or 4 weeks ago specifically on that, and as I say, we put out a press release about 3 or 4 weeks ago, which was really the culmination of all of our drilling in and around South Chico and some of the regional stuff. And taking South Chico first, we've obviously got a potential strike extension of that ore body to the west particularly, and we've actually picked up that ground and also extended the mining license to envelope that area. And that's all going towards these sort of mine site geophysical anomalies that we've had there, which we named Besouro and Cicada. And we drilled those as well with some drilling in Q1 this year and intersected gold-bearing sulfides. And we're now drilling the gap between South Chico and those geophysical anomalies, something like about a 2-kilometer strike. And it's going very well. And we're just chasing the South Chico ore body towards these geophysical anomalies. So, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that. And if this all joins up, we've actually got quite a nice sort of site there and a real potential to grow the resources. And that's really important because, as I sort of regularly say to you, Scott, we're producing from South Chico mined ore, which we truck 25 kilometers to Palito to the process plant, which is with the ore sorter, not quite at capacity now, but will be again very soon. If we get serious exploration success at South Chico, it's going to beg the question at some point, when are we going to put some kind of process there, pre-concentration. Whether that can be just crushing and ore sorting, whether it's a full plant, we don't know. It all depends on the exploration success. So it is important to actually tick that box and get that exploration, the understanding of what South Chico can actually be, so we can make the right capital decision on plant expansion. And that kind of leads into the regional exploration, because it's not just about South Chico. We've obviously got that area with the airborne survey that we did, which showed that lovely big sort of anomaly that bridges basically the east to the west of our tenement, which sort of bisects, Palito and South Chico. Big 10-kilometer long zone, which is a big EM anomaly. We've since been busy for the last 6 months doing geochemistry, soil geochemistry over that, and we've got a coincidental copper anomaly over that big EM, over that magnetic anomaly, and we've got a whole series of electromagnetic anomalies, which are nearly always indicators in our part of the world of sulfide bodies, and these sulfide bodies we hope could be gold bearing. So what we're doing now is we're now going over those samples and re-assaying them for gold. And the whole idea is to actually hone in on those and really sort of focus on those anomalies and get them drill ready. There are two in particular, one called Juca and one called Calico, which is to the south of Palito, just 5 kilometers away, and they look really exciting. They have got coincidental geophysical anomaly, geochemical anomaly, and gold anomalies, and they really do. They have all the right type of rocks that look the same as Palito. So the interesting thing with that one is that's only, as I say, 5 kilometers from Palito. So if that turns out to be a success, then the Palito plant should have some kind of expansion. So all this exploration, whether it be at Palito, near Palito, or at South Chico, is really needs to be resolved to see the potential to decide where we do plant expansion down the track. So it's a nice problem to have, to work on all of these, the growth of where and what we're going to do next.
Well, thank you for the update today, Mike. I think shareholders would find that very useful. There's no doubt that you seem to be coping very well with the pandemic at the moment, and there's obviously great potential as you move forward for the different areas, the tenements that you have.
Much appreciated, Scott. And as I said right at the beginning of the comments, please, I welcome any feedback from shareholders. Any more questions people want to ask me, please get in touch with me at Serabi Gold.
Well, you've been listening to BRR Media with Mike Hodgson, who's the CEO of Serabi Gold.